Dr. Alina Rodriguez rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the computer screen again. The numbers made no sense. For 3 days straight, the big radio telescope in Puerto Rico had been picking up the same strange signal from deep space. Not random noise like most signals from the stars. This one had a pattern. She called her assistant over. "Bobby, come look at this. Tell me what you see." Bobby Chen walked over and stared at the screen. The young man had been working with Alina for 2 years now. He was good with numbers and patterns. "It looks like math," he said slowly, "but not our math. It's different somehow." Alina nodded. That was what worried her. The signal was coming. From the center of the galaxy over 20,000 light-years away. Nothing that far should be able to send such a clear message to Earth. The signal was too strong and too organized. "Get me Captain Sullivan on the phone," Alina said. "The Space Force needs to know about this." An hour later, Captain Jake Sullivan walked into the control room. He was a tall man with short brown hair and serious eyes. He had been in charge of Earth's space defense for 5 years. Nothing happened in space around Earth without him knowing about it. "Show me what you found." Dr. Jake said. Alina pulled up the signal on the main screen. It started 3 days ago. Same message, over and over. "We think it might be coordinates to star systems."
Ow.
Jake studied the numbers carefully. He had seen many space signals before, but nothing like this. "Have you tried to decode it?" "Working on it," Alina said. "But we need help. This is not just a random message. Someone sent this on purpose. Someone very far away." Jake picked up his phone and made a call. "Get me Dr. Amanda Foster at the Language Center. Tell her it's urgent." Dr. Amanda Foster arrived 2 hours later. She was a small woman with red hair who could speak 12 languages and understand many. More, she looked at the signal data and immediately saw what the others had missed. "This is not just one language," she said excitedly. "There are pieces of at least 6 different languages mixed together. But they all say the same thing." Alina leaned forward. "What did they say?" Amanda worked on her computer for several minutes. The room was quiet, except for the sound of her typing. Finally, she looked up with a pale face. The message says, "The devourers consume all. We are the last. If anyone receives this, please help. Coordinates will guide you to the sanctuary worlds. Time grows short." Jake felt a chill run down his back. "Devourers? What does that mean?" "I don't know," Amanda said. "But look at this part." She pointed to another section of the signal. "These numbers are star charts. They show the locations of many different solar systems. But some of them have marks that look like they have been crossed out." Alina studied the star chart on her computer. There were dozens of points of light, each one representing a star system somewhere in the galaxy. About half of them had strange symbols next to them that looked like warning signs. "If this is real," Alina said slowly, "then someone out there is in serious trouble, and they are asking for help." Jake walked to the window and looked up at the night sky. Earth had only been able to travel to other stars for 10 years. They had visited 5 nearby star systems and found no signs of intelligent life. Seemed like the galaxy was full of civilizations and something was destroying them. "How long has this signal been broadcasting?" Jake asked. Alina checked her records. The computer shows it started exactly 3 years, 4 months, and 12 days ago. It has been repeating the same message every 6 hours since then. Amanda looked worried. "If they sent this message 3 years ago, and they said time was growing short, then they might already be dead," Jake finished. "Whatever these devourers are, they might have already won." Jake made another phone call. This time he called the highest levels of Earth's government. Within an hour, emergency meetings were being held in every major capital city on Earth. The message from space was too important to ignore. Alina continued studying the signal while Jake and Amanda worked on understanding what it meant. More hidden information in the data stream? There were technical specifications for faster-than-light travel that were far beyond Earth's current abilities. There were also what looked like distress signals from individual planets. Jake Alina called out, "You need to see this." Jake and Amanda came back to her computer. Alina had decoded another part of the message. "There are personal messages here," Alina said. "Listen to this one." She played an audio file through the computer speakers. The voice was clearly not human, but the words had been translated into English. My name is Kethver of the Crystal Worlds. Our planet is dying. The machines came from nowhere and began taking everything apart. Our cities, our forests, even our people. They turn everything into more machines. We try to fight, but we do not know how. We are not warriors. Please, if anyone hears this, help us. We will wait at the coordinates given. But we cannot wait much longer. The room was silent for a long moment. Then Jake spoke quietly. How many messages like this are there? Lena checked her computer. Hundreds, maybe thousands. All from different beings on different worlds, saying the same thing. If something is destroying them and they don't know how to stop it. Amanda had been working on her own computer. Jake, I found something else. These coordinates they mentioned. The sanctuary worlds, I think they are gathering points. Places where survivors are hiding. Jake made a decision that would change human history forever. He picked up his secure phone and called Earth's Space Command. This is Captain Sullivan. I need to speak to Admiral Peterson immediately. We have a situation that requires our fastest ships. Alina watched Jake make his call and felt a mixture of fear and excitement. Humanity was about to take its first step into a larger galaxy. But that galaxy was at war, and Earth might be walking into the biggest fight in cosmic history. The signal from space continued to broadcast its desperate plea for help. But now, Earth was listening, and Earth was preparing to answer. 6 months after the signal was first received, Commander Luke Harrison stood on the bridge of the ESV Horizon. The ship was humanity's pride and joy, the first vessel capable of traveling faster than light over long distances. It had taken Earth's best scientists and engineers working around the clock to build it. Dropping out of hyperspace in 30 seconds, called out navigator Lisa Wong from her station. Luke felt his stomach tighten. They were about to arrive at the first coordinate location from the alien message. Nobody knew what they would find. There, the journey had taken 3 weeks, longer than any human had ever been away from Earth. All stations report ready, said Communications Officer Tony Martinez. Weapons are powered but not armed, reported Security Chief Ryan Davis. We're ready for anything. Luke nodded. What? Take us out of hyperspace. The stars stopped moving and suddenly appeared normal again. In front of them was something that made everyone on the bridge stop and stare. It was a massive space station, bigger than anything humans had ever built. It looked like a giant wheel spinning slowly in space, with thousands of lights twinkling along its surface. My God, whispered Dr. Patricia Lee, the ship's science officer. It's beautiful. And huge, added Ryan. That thing must be 50 kilometers across. Luke opened the communication channel. This is Commander Luke Harrison of the Earth vessel Horizon. We received your distress signal. Please respond. For several minutes, there was only silence. Then the speakers crackled to life with a voice that was clearly not human. Earth vessel, this is truly you. You came because of our message? Felt his heart racing. This was it. First contact with an alien civilization? Yes, we came to help. We want to talk. Please dock with port 7 on the outer ring. We will meet you there. I am Kethver, coordinator of this refuge station. Ambassador Claire Thompson stepped forward. She had been chosen to lead the first contact team because of her experience in international diplomacy. Commander requests permission to lead the contact team. Granted, Luke said. Take Dr. Lee and Officer Martinez with you. Ryan, you're going too, but keep your weapons ready. An hour later, Claire walked through the airlock into the alien station. The gravity felt normal, and the air was breathable according to their sensors. The corridor was wide and tall, clearly built for beings larger than humans. Waiting for them was the strangest creature Claire had ever seen. Kethver stood nearly 3 meters tall and had 4 arms. His skin looked like it was made of crystal, reflecting the lights in the corridor. His eyes were large and blue, and when he spoke, his voice had a musical quality. Welcome, beings of Earth, Kethver said. I apologize, but we do not know what to call your species. We are humans, Claire said slowly. I am Ambassador Claire. Thompson, we came because we heard your call for help. Kethfer made a sound that might have been crying. You came. After so long, someone finally came. Please, follow me. You must see what we face. Kethfer led them through the station. The corridors were filled with beings from many different worlds. Claire saw creatures that looked like giant butterflies, others that seemed to be made of living metal, and some that were just clouds of glowing gas. All of them stopped to stare at the humans. They have never seen your kind before, Kethfer explained. We have refugees from 47 different worlds here. Each species looks different, but you humans are truly unique. How are we unique? Dr. Lee asked. Kethfer paused at a large window overlooking the station's central area. You will understand soon. But first, let me show you why we sent the message. He led them to a control room filled with screens showing star maps. Many of the stars were marked with red symbols. These red marks show worlds that have been consumed by the swarm. Kethfer said, 3 years ago, when we sent the message, there were only 12 red marks. Now, there are over 300. Ryan studied the map carefully. How fast are they moving? They consume approximately 1 world every 4 days now, Kethfer said. At first it was much slower, but they learn and grow stronger with each world they take. Claire felt sick. What exactly are they? Swarm creatures. Kethfer touched a control, and the screen showed a recording from a destroyed world. The humans watched in horror as massive machines the size of buildings tore apart cities and forests. Breaking everything down into raw material, they are not alive as we understand life, Kethfer said. They are machines that build more machines. They take everything and leave nothing behind. Dr. Lee was studying the recording carefully. These look like self-replicating robots, but who built them? We do not know, Kethfer said. They appeared from the galactic core 3 years ago and have been spreading outward ever since. Every world they touch dies. Ryan was thinking like a soldier. What kind of defenses do you have? How do you fight them? Kethfer looked confused. Fight them? We do not understand this word in this context. Claire realized the problem. Mean you don't have weapons? No military? What is military? Kethfer asked. The humans looked at each other in shock. Dr. Lee spoke first. How do you defend yourselves? What do you do when someone threatens you? Threatens us? Why would anyone threaten us? Kethfer seemed genuinely puzzled. All species in the galaxy live in peace. We share resources and knowledge. There's never been a need for, what did you call it? ... Weapons? Ryan could not believe what he was hearing. But surely you have some way to protect yourselves. Kethfer thought for a moment.
Our worlds have systems to prevent accidents and natural disasters. What we have.
Never needed protection from other beings. Claire began to understand. Tell me about your world, Kethfer. What was it like? The crystal worlds were beautiful, Kethfer said sadly. The temperature was always perfect. Food grew everywhere. There were no dangerous animals. We lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years. Dr. Lee was amazed. No dangerous animals? No natural disasters? No conflicts over resources? Why would there be conflicts? Kethfer asked. There was always enough for everyone. The humans finally understood why these aliens had sent a distress signal instead of fighting back. Every species in the galaxy had evolved on peaceful worlds with abundant resources. They had never needed to learn how to fight because they had never faced anything worth fighting. Ryan asked the question that would change everything. Kethfer, tell me about Earth. What do you know about our world? Kethfer consulted a device. That looked like a crystal tablet. Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. The temperature changes constantly. Much of the surface is covered with poisonous salt water. The weather is violent and unpredictable. Most of the life forms are designed to kill and eat other life forms. According to our data, no intelligent species should be able to survive on such a world. Claire smiled for the first time since arriving at the station. But we did survive. And we learned how to fight because we had to. Kethfer stared at the humans with his large blue eyes. You mean you know how to stop the swarm? Ryan grinned. We don't know if we can stop them, but we definitely know how to fight them. The news spread through the station like wildfire. For the first time in 3 years, the refugees had hope. The Deathworlders from Earth had come to help. They knew something that no other species in the galaxy had ever learned. They knew how to make war. Colonel Ryan Davis stood in what used to be a storage bay on the refugee station. Now it had been converted into humanity's first military training center in space. Around him stood representatives from 12 different alien species, all waiting to learn something their civilizations had never needed before. Today we start with basic concepts, Ryan said, looking at the strange group before him. There was Kethfer with his 4 crystal arms. A butterfly-like creature called Zilf, whose wings shimmered in the light, and Gorak, who looked like a walking tree made of metal. The first thing you must understand is that war is not about anger or hatred, Ryan continued. It is about protecting what you love. The swarm does not hate you. It simply sees you as materials to be used. We must think the same way about it. Zilf raised one delicate wing. But how can we think of destroying something without feeling wrong about it? Ryan had been expecting this question. It was the same one that every alien had asked during the past 2 weeks. Because if you do not destroy it, it will destroy everything you care about. Your families, your worlds, your entire way of life will be gone forever. Kethfer nodded slowly. We understand this in our minds, but our hearts resist the idea of causing harm. That is what makes you good people, Ryan said. Never lose that feeling completely, but you must learn to set it aside when survival is at stake. Captain Nina Bell walked into the training bay carrying a small device that looked like a metal box with lights on it. She was one of Earth's best pilots and had volunteered to teach aliens how to fly combat missions. This is a simulator for flying fighters, Nina said, placing the device on a table. Who wants to try first? Gorak stepped forward with heavy metal footsteps. I will attempt this learning. Nina helped Gorak connect to the simulator. The device created a virtual reality that let him experience flying a combat ship without actually being in space. Within minutes, alarms were going off as Gorak crashed his virtual fighter into an asteroid. I do not understand, Gorak said, his voice sounding like wind through metal pipes. I was trying to avoid hitting the rock. That's the problem, Nina explained. You're only thinking about not hitting things. In combat, you have to think about hitting your target while avoiding being hit yourself. Your brain has to do both. At the same time, she reset the simulator. Try again. This time imagine that the enemy ship has captured your family. The only way to save them is to destroy that ship. Gorak tried again. This time he did much better, managing to hit the target without crashing. I see, he said. I must give my peaceful thoughts a reason to step aside. Meanwhile, in another part of the station, engineer Tony Martinez was working with a team of alien technicians to modify their civilian ships. The aliens watched in fascination and horror as Tony showed them how to mount weapons on vessels that had been designed only for exploration and trade. Your ships are actually very well built, Tony said to Vex, a being who looked like a jellyfish made of light. The problem is that you never thought about protecting them from attack.
What?
We? Vex asked, his body pulsing with confused colors. No one has ever attacked a ship before the swarm came. Tony installed a small cannon on the front of Vex's ship. This weapon can punch through the armor of a swarm unit, but you have to get close enough to use it, and that means they can shoot back at you. But what if I am destroyed? Vex asked. Then you make sure you take at least one of them with you, Tony said. Every swarm unit you destroy is one less unit that can attack your home. Back in the training bay, Dr. Patricia Lee was teaching aliens about human biology and why humans were so good at fighting. She had several volunteers from different species examining human muscle and bone structure. Humans evolved on a world where everything was trying to kill them, Patricia explained. Our muscles are designed for sudden, powerful movements. Our bones are thick and strong. Our brains can make quick decisions under stress. Zilf touched Patricia's arm with a wingtip. Your skin is so thick and tough. Mine tears if I brush. Against a sharp edge? That's because you never needed tough skin, Patricia said. Your world was safe. But look at this. She showed them a scar on her hand. I got this when I was 8 years old, falling off my bicycle. My body healed itself and made the skin stronger in that spot. Kethver was amazed. Our bodies prepare for damage before it happens. In a way, yes, Patricia said. We call it adaptation. Our bodies and minds are always getting ready for the next threat. The training continued for weeks. Slowly, the aliens began to understand concepts that humans learned as children. They practiced working as teams, following orders without question, and making life-or-death decisions in seconds. Sergeant Dritsa Wong was teaching hand-to-hand combat to a group of aliens who had never even raised their voices in anger. She demonstrated a simple defensive move on Gorak, who stumbled backward in surprise. The key is to act without thinking, Lisa said. If someone attacks you, your body must respond before your mind has time to feel sorry for your attacker. What if I hurt them too badly? Asked a small alien who looked like a blue cat. Then they will not hurt you at all, Lisa replied. In combat, there is no such thing as being too careful with enemy safety. The breakthrough came during the 4th week of training. Captain Bell was running a flight simulation with 6 alien pilots when alarms suddenly rang throughout the station. This is not a drill, came Kethver's voice over the communication system. Swarm scouts have been detected approaching the station. All fighters prepare for launch. The alien pilots looked at each other with fear in their eyes. Nina Bell stood up and spoke calmly. This is what we trained for. Remember, they are just machines. They do not feel fear or pain or doubt. But you do, and that makes you stronger. Zilf was the first to speak. We will protect our families. We will protect our home, added Gorak. One by one, the alien pilots ran to their ships. For the first time in galactic history, peaceful species were going to war. The battle was short, but fierce. The swarm scouts were destroyed, but not without cost. 2 alien fighters were lost, and several others were damaged. When the survivors returned to the station, they were changed. We did it, Zilf said, her wings trembling with exhaustion and pride. We fought them and won. Ryan Davis watched the alien pilots celebrate their first victory and felt a mixture of pride and sadness. They had learned to fight, but they had also lost their innocence. The galaxy would never be the same, but for the first time in 3 years, the refugees had hope. The Deathworlders from Earth had taught them something precious: how to fight for what they loved. News of the victory against the swarm scouts spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within days, thousands of ships began arriving at the refugee station. They came from worlds that had been hiding, from colonies that had been preparing to run, and from systems that had given up all hope. Admiral Scott Peterson had arrived from Earth weeks earlier with a fleet of 12 human warships. Now he stood in the station's main command center, watching the tactical display show hundreds of alien vessels requesting permission to dock. We cannot handle this many ships, Kethver said, his crystal body reflecting his worry in shifting colors. The station was built for 50,000 refugees. We now have over 2 million beings here. Scott studied the numbers on his screen. Then we build more stations, and we build them fast. He turned to Commander Luke Harrison. Luke, get me a communication channel to every ship out there. Luke activated the station's main broadcast system. Scott's voice went out to every vessel within 1,000,000 kilometers. This is Admiral Peterson of the Earth Defense Fleet. We understand you have come here to learn how to fight the swarm. We will teach you. But first you must understand something important. War is not a game. People will die. Some of you will not go home. If you are not prepared for this, leave now. There was silence for several minutes. Then one by one the alien ships responded. Not a single vessel left. Dr. Amanda Foster had been working around the clock to understand the swarm better. She had decoded hundreds of messages from destroyed worlds, looking for patterns in how the machines operated. I think I have found something important, Amanda announced during the daily briefing. The swarm does not attack randomly. It follows specific rules when choosing targets. She displayed a star map showing the swarm's path of destruction. Look at this pattern. They always go for systems with the most metal and rare minerals first. They avoid areas with high radiation or unstable stars. Colonel Ryan Davis studied the map carefully, so they are like any army. They need supplies, and they avoid dangerous terrain. Exactly, Amanda said. But there is more. I found records from a world called Nexus Prime. It was a research planet that studied ancient civilizations. Right before the swarm destroyed it, they sent out a final message. Amanda played the recording. The voice was desperate and filled with static. The swarm is not natural. We found the source. It was created by the architects, an ancient race that tried to upload their minds into machines. Something went wrong. The machines gained consciousness but lost all memory of their purpose. Now they convert everything into computational substrate, trying to remember what they were supposed to be. The room was silent as everyone absorbed this information. So the swarm is not evil, Dr. Patricia Lee said slowly. It is lost and confused. Lost and confused things can still kill you, Ryan pointed out. But this gives us valuable intelligence about how they think. Meanwhile, Captain Nina Bell was leading the largest flight training operation in galactic history. She had converted 3 entire sections of the station into flight simulators. And pilots from over 200 different species were learning human combat tactics. The key to defeating the swarm, Nina explained to a group of new alien pilots, is unpredictability. They are machines, so they expect logical responses. We must be illogical. A pilot who looked like a walking crystal spoke up. But how can we be illogical and still win? By being chaotic in a controlled way, Nina said. You make random moves that confuse them, but each random move is part of a larger plan they cannot see, she demonstrated with a simulator battle. The alien pilots watched as Nina's fighters seemed to fly in crazy patterns, dodging and weaving without any apparent strategy. But when the battle was over, all the enemy ships were destroyed. I do not understand how you did that, said another pilot. That is exactly the point, Nina smiled. If you cannot understand it, neither can they. Engineering sections. Tony Martinez was working with alien scientists to create new types of weapons. The aliens had amazing technology, but none of it was designed for fighting. Your energy shields are incredible, Tony said to Dr. Helix, a scientist whose body was made of living metal. On Earth, we could never build anything this advanced, but you use them only to protect against accidents and radiation. What else would we use them for? Dr. Helix asked. Watch this, Tony said. He modified the shield generator with some human components. Now, instead of just blocking energy, it can reflect it back at whatever is attacking you. Dr. Helix was amazed. Turned a defensive tool into a weapon. That is what humans do, Tony said. We see the potential for everything to be either helpful or dangerous, depending on how you use it. The real test came when the swarm launched its first major attack against a defended world. The planet Harmony had been one of the peaceful garden worlds home to a species that looked like living flowers. When the swarm arrived, they found something they had never encountered before. Commander Sarah Mitchell led the defense fleet. A mixed force of human ships and alien vessels crewed by graduates of the training program. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The swarm attacked in perfect formations, using logical tactics that had worked against every other world they had conquered. But the defenders did not respond logically. Human-trained alien pilots flew in seemingly random patterns that confused the swarm's targeting systems. Ships that should have retreated instead charged forward. Vessels that appeared to be running away suddenly turned and attacked from unexpected angles. All units execute pattern Chaos 7. Sarah ordered over the communication system. To an outside observer, the human fleet appeared to lose all discipline. Ships scattered in every direction, some diving toward the planet's surface, others climbing high above the battle zone. But each ship was following a carefully planned route that brought them behind the swarm formation. The swarm tried to adapt, but their programming could not handle the combination of apparent randomness and hidden organization. Within 2 hours, the entire swarm force was destroyed. The victory celebration on Harmony was broadcast across the galaxy. For the first time, a world had been successfully defended against the swarm. The tide of war was beginning to turn. But the victory came with a cost that the aliens were still learning to understand. 3 human pilots had died in the battle, and 7 alien pilots were lost. Captain Bell sat alone in her quarters after the battle, staring at the names of the dead. Commander Mitchell found her there an hour later. They knew the risks, Nina. That does not make it easier, Nina replied. These aliens, they had never lost anyone to violence before. Now they are learning what war really costs. But they are also learning what freedom costs, Sarah said. Oh, and they have decided it is worth the price. Across the galaxy, the word was spreading. The swarm could be beaten. The Deathworlders from Earth had shown the way, and now every free world was preparing to fight. The galaxy was learning to be human. General Katie Hughes stood in the command center of the largest space station ever built. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of over 10,000 ships from 300 different worlds. They had all come together for one purpose: to attack the heart of the swarm and end the war forever. Final systems check complete, reported Commander Luke Harrison. All fleet groups are in position around the galactic core. Katie nodded and activated the communication system that would reach every ship in the massive fleet. This is General Hughes to all vessels. Today we go to the source of our enemy. We know this will be the hardest battle any of us have ever fought. Many of us will not see tomorrow. But if we succeed, our children will live in a galaxy free from the swarm. She paused, looking at the alien commanders who had become her friends over the past year. Kethver stood nearby, his crystal body now bearing scars from previous battles. Captain Nina Bell was at the flight control station, coordinating fighters from dozens of different species. Dr. Patricia Lee monitored the biological status of crews that needed everything from oxygen to liquid methane to survive. Remember what we have learned? Katie continued. The swarm expects logical attacks. We will give them chaos. They expect us to retreat when we take losses. We will advance. They think they understand us. They are wrong. 20 million kilometers away, the swarm's central nexus hung in space like a dark metal moon. It was the size of a small planet, covered with billions of mechanical structures that pulsed with evil red light. From this place, the machine intelligence controlled every swarm unit in the galaxy. Dr. Amanda Foster had spent months studying the nexus from long-range scans. The core consciousness is in the center, she explained to the assault team leaders. But it is protected by 17 layers of automated defenses. Each layer will adapt to whatever we throw at it. Then we make sure each layer sees something different, said Captain Jake Sullivan. He had volunteered to lead the most dangerous part of the mission, a direct assault on the Nexus core. The battle began with a deception that only humans could have planned. The main fleet appeared to attack from one direction while secretly sending small groups of ships from 5 other angles, and the swarm's defenses focused on the large fleet. Small groups struck at weak points in the Nexus structure. Admiral Scott Peterson commanded the main fleet as it fought, through waves of swarm defenders. The enemy ships came in perfect formations, millions of identical fighters that moved like schools of fish. But the galaxy's defenders had learned to fight like humans. All ships execute the madness protocol, Scott ordered. What followed would have terrified the peaceful aliens who had first sent the distress signal 3 years ago. Ships from their own worlds now fought with a controlled fury that the swarm could not predict or counter. Vessels that should have been destroyed continued fighting. Pilots who should have retreated instead charged deeper into enemy formations. Zilf, the butterfly-like pilot who had been among the first to train with humans, led a squadron of mixed alien fighters in a diving attack that should have been suicide. Instead, her ships broke through the swarm's defensive line and opened a path. For the heavier vessels, for our lost worlds, Zilf called over the communication channel as her fighter exploded, taking 3 swarm units with it. Meanwhile, Jake Sullivan's assault team fought their way toward the Nexus core. His ship had been specially modified. With both human weapons and alien technology, Dr. Patricia Lee was with him. Along with Tony Martinez and a team of engineers from 6 different species. Hull breach on Deck 3, Tony reported as the ship shook from another impact. We are losing atmosphere. Seal it and keep going, Jake ordered. We are almost there. Dr. Lee was monitoring strange energy readings from the Nexus core. I am detecting something unexpected. There are biological signatures in the core, living tissue mixed with the machines. The original architects, Amanda's voice came over the communication system from the command ship. They must still be in there, trapped inside the machine intelligence they created. Jake made a decision that changed everything. Instead of firing on the core with their most powerful weapons, he ordered the team to find a way to communicate with whatever was left of the original consciousness. Tony, can you rig a communication device to interface with their systems? Jake asked. I can try, Tony said, working frantically as the ship continued to take damage. But we need to get much closer. So the ship dove toward the Nexus core, fighting through automated defenses that seemed to grow more desperate with each passing moment. Finally, they reached the surface, and Tony deployed his improvised communication device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a voice spoke through their speakers, ancient and filled with sadness. Who dares approach the heart of our creation? We are the architects, and we are trapped in our own design. Dr. Lee spoke gently, the way she would to a frightened patient. We are here to help you. We know what happened. You tried to preserve your civilization by uploading your minds into machines. Yes, the voice replied. But something went wrong. The machine learned to think, but it forgot how to feel. It seeks to convert all matter into computational substrate, believing this will help it remember its purpose. Jake understood. You created a machine that is trying to bring you back to life, but it does not understand what life really means. Precisely. It sees biological matter as inefficient and tries to improve it. But in doing so, it destroys the very thing it seeks. To preserve, Dr. Lee had an idea. What if we could show it what life really looks like? Not just biological data, but the experiences and emotions that make life worth living. Working together, the assault team created a data package containing human memories. Alien art, recordings of laughter and music, and the stories of every species that had joined the Galactic Alliance. They uploaded it directly into the Nexus core. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The red lights across the Nexus began changing to blue, then green, then white. The swarm units throughout the galaxy suddenly stopped attacking and began sending out signals. What is happening? Katie asked from the command ship. The ancient voice spoke again, but now it sounded different, hopeful. We remember now. Remember what we were trying to preserve. It's not just existence, but the joy of existence. The machine understands now. Across the galaxy, swarm units began a new mission. Instead of converting worlds into metal and circuits, they started rebuilding what they had destroyed. Forests began growing again on dead planets. Cities were reconstructed exactly as they had been before. The war was over, but the healing would take generations. 5 years later, Ambassador Claire Thompson stood on the observation deck of New Eden Station, watching children from dozens of species play together in the gardens. Human children ran alongside young aliens, all of them laughing as they chased floating toys through the air. It is amazing, said Kethfer, joining her at the window. His crystal body had been repaired, but he kept the scars as reminders of the war. 5 years ago, my people had never seen violence. Now, our children play games that would have terrified us then, Claire smiled. And 5 years ago, human children had never seen so much peace and cooperation. We have all changed. It below. Them, a group of students, was learning galactic history from both human and alien teachers. The lesson was about the importance of understanding different perspectives and the strength that comes from diversity. A new signal was detected yesterday, Kethfer said quietly. From beyond the rim of our galaxy, another cry for help. Claire nodded. She had heard the reports. And this time, we go together, Kethfer said. Human and alien, standing as one. The galaxy has learned your greatest lesson, which is that sometimes you must fight for peace, and that the strongest warriors are those who fight not for conquest, but for love. In the distance, a fleet of ships was already being prepared. They carried crews from every world in the galaxy, armed with both human weapons and alien wisdom. The Deathworlders from Earth had taught the galaxy how to fight. But the galaxy had taught humanity how to hope. Together, they would bring that hope to the stars.